Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, your feet are still in the picture, even with the blurry. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. Excuse me for my prepubescent boy voice. Allergies have hit me really, really hard. Welcome. I am Hilary, your hostess with the mostest, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because, yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I firmly believe that everybody has intuition. I'm going to go ahead and take the blur off because it's annoying the crap out of me. Let's go ahead and fix that. And hopefully you can hear my voice because, as you can see, I am not in my usual broadcast space, which is usually the bedroom with the lighting and everything, because it's just too hot in there, folks. I can't deal with it, and I have like all of my wires and everything out here in the living room, so I figured I would just broadcast in the living room. So just gonna have to deal with it. It might not be pretty, but it is what it is. And Katie is here. Hello, Katie. Just let me know if you guys can see me and hear me. I know that the audio quality is probably a little bit funky because I don't have my regular microphone on. I've got my sister microphone on. Yeah, so cool. The tube of you is looking good as well. Fantastic. So I'm gonna assume that everything is copacetic and up and running. Awesome. So as I said in the description tonight, I don't think we're gonna have the mid-episode reading. We will have the other fixtures of the weekly live stream, which is the Astro Biz Digest, the Astro Weather from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, and we will definitely have the weekend forecast. And in between there, probably give you a little bit of housekeeping notes. I know that the newest episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast dropped today. That was on the subject of timing. I think the name of the episode was like "It's About Time" or something like that. That episode really made me laugh because, spoiler alert, the end of the episode, Melissa just keeps on, saying pun after pun after pun, and I kept on rejecting pretty much all of them, and then she got one in like at the buzzer, and then our outro music started, and it just made me crack up. So Kendra once again making us laugh and making us sound like the professionals that podcasting professionals that we know we are not. But it's always really gratifying to hear your opinions about the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. And I can't believe that it's been a glimmer of an idea for 6 years, and then we finally made it manifest 3 years later. And I was looking at like different memories from the Book of Face, and I saw the inkling of that particular, like the root basically of Card Slingers. And it was nice to see like the date and the time, so we can pinpoint to the date around like 6 years ago we started discussing doing a podcast together. So it's really crazy how that all happened, and it's even crazier that you guys are continuing to listen, which is amazing. This is episode 78, I think. That is just nuts in and of itself that we've made it to 78 episodes. Yeah, the name of the episode is episode 78. It's about time, talking about timing and readings, and also Melissa's patented kidney stone oracle as well. Because if you don't have a sense of humor about issues, like life is going to be, I'll quote Garden State because I was just watching that the other day. Life is, if you don't have a sense of humor about it, or if you can't laugh about something, life is going to be a lot longer than you think it is. So so that's like the newest episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. And then I'm still working on my own standalone podcast episode for the Tarot by Hilary podcast, which is, I think it's on creating a psychic journal. So if some of you are OGs of the Tarot by Hilary live stream, you will know that that is already an episode that exists on the tube of you. And I did a pre-recorded episode, not necessarily this time last year, but close. I think it was around June that I couldn't participate. I couldn't do the live stream on the Friday night because we actually I had to go on a Zoom call about the excursions that we were planning for the upcoming trip that we were going on in August of last year. Well, end of July or early August of last year. So it's kind of trippy to listen to that in order to create a podcast episode from that, and take out all of the tiny whiny things that don't make that episode necessarily evergreen and trying to make it a little bit more evergreen. So basically that episode is going to be removing the removing the astro weather and removing the weekend forecast, and anything else that might have been so 2022, and only including the information that was pertinent to that particular episode on creating a psychic journal. So I think I'm about halfway through listening to it and producing it, and that will definitely be up tonight. And that is the reason why I'm saying that this is going to be a shortened episode, because I want to make sure that I actually produce that episode and put it up today, because that's when I typically drop new episodes of the Tarot by Hilary podcast. So if that makes sense to everybody, cool beans. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Pulp Tarot deck, which is May's deck of the month. I am considering also bringing it into June because I really have been giving the card of the day post short shrift, and I want to be able to continue to work with that deck and also show you that deck. So that it's likely going to be the deck of the month for June as well. And we're going to continue to do card pulls for that. There are reasons. There are reasons that I haven't been doing card of the day as faithfully as I would like to. Life reasons, but hopefully in hindsight that will be a good thing. And I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but I will probably be ready to talk about it within the next month. So yeah, Katie's saying, ha ha ha, it's so 2022. Yes. Oh, thank you, Katie. Your stuff is very evergreen. Well, I do try. I try, but sometimes in the moment, if I make certain references, um, it does tend to date itself sometimes. So someone's commenting, hello, are you offering readings by chance? We are going to get into readings in a moment or two with the astro weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astrobiz Digest. So a little bit of astrology coming up for you, and then the weekend forecast as well, which is more of a one card oracle or tarot reading for the collective for the upcoming weekend. So stay tuned. All right, on that note, let's do the astro weather. So astro weather is from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astrobiz Digest. Let me go ahead and show you that information. It is $99 for a year subscription. And actually, hold on one second. Let me do the intro first. Like, what would I be without the intro package, right? Let's do that first, shall we? Then we'll do the astrology. Okay, let's take that out. Let us show the Astrobiz Digest. And my system will automatically drop the link to the AstroBiz Digest. It is $99 for a year-long subscription of astrology in layman's terms, straight to your email inbox. It is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I found it to be very, very helpful in my own personal life. So even if you're not, if even if you don't consider yourself a business owner or an entrepreneur, it's still a great thing to have. And she gives you both the astrology and then she also explains it in layman's terms. So, if you're wondering, like, oh, Mercury is in retrograde, but what does that mean? She explains it in the AstroBiz Digest. So, highly, highly, highly recommend. And I think it's such an easy purchase because it's $99 for the year and you're getting so much in a given week, in a given month. And like you're getting monthly summaries of like basically what's going on that month, but then you're also getting in-depth weekly summaries every Sunday for the upcoming week. So it's amazing. I like to share Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here on the broadcast. And then if you want more, you can go to the link that I'm providing in the chat and you can purchase a copy for yourself. And I actually would encourage you to do so because I never want to give away too much of the AstroBiz Digest. And because that would not be cool for Teresa, I want to be able to highlight her work and encourage you to purchase the AstroBiz Digest. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen. It's basically www.thetarotlady.com/AstroBiz Digest with hyphens between the Astro and the Biz and the Digest. All right. So let me go ahead and hide that, put that in the lower third, and let us talk about the overall transits that are happening this week. I'm pretty sure it's pretty quiet this week. And then the nitty gritty for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and maybe Monday. I'm not sure she provided the information for the Memorial Day Monday, since that is something that we are observing here in the United States. But let's take a look. Yeah. There are no major changes happening this week. However, there are a few gnarly aspects to contend with, so you'll want to take note. So for Friday, today, May 26th of 2023, we've got a void moon all day, which means it's best to focus on projects that are already in motion. Don't push yourself and avoid starting new things. Keep your schedule light if possible. Then at 11:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon slips into industrious Virgo, giving the weekend a blast of productive energy. Whatever needs to get done will get done. Today, Friday, May 26th, is a power day for Leo and a weekday for Aquarius. Are we ready for Saturday and Sunday? Give me a hell yeah in the chat. And I'm going to reach for my wine because I am drinking very nice light Pinot Grigio recommended by my local wine shop. So that was very nice. Hydration is very important. And because Katie is asking so nicely, yes, please, let us move on. All right. So Saturday morning is stellar for tackling your to-do list, thanks to that Virgo moon. Get up early, move swiftly, and you could get the job done like a ninja. However, watch out for two icky spots. One, the moon sun square at 11:22 a.m. and the moon Saturn opposition at 12:53 p.m. Now that's both Eastern Standard Time. This sets up the late day and early afternoon for some tomfoolery and drama. Best to call it a day and enjoy some playtime instead. The Moon Mercury trine at 11:07 p.m. is terrific for networking or long chats with friends about the state of the world. If you're out and about, you may connect with influential types. Yay! Sunday has the Sun square Saturn all day, putting a damper on sales and moods. Even though there are a few decent aspects later in the day, this vibe will kill any benefits they may bring. My advice: Sunday is off limits for business. Both days are power days for Virgo and weekdays for Pisces. So, no business. This weekend is not good for business. So, if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, watch out. Oh my God, it's so warm in here. Why is it so warm in here? I'm like sweating my balls off. I'm schwitzing. All right. So at this time, I always like to give Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also the general overview if there's any transits going on. Um, yes, exactly. Katie's just like, have a weekend. But I like to open up the floor for those of you that are watching in case your Tuesday was a little bit weird or your Wednesday. I will take a quick look at the AstroBiz Digest and I might be able to give you a little bit of a sense of why that was. So go ahead and ask. I'll give it a minute or two, and then we will move into talking a little bit about tonight's episode or main crux of the episode, which is basically whatever you guys want to talk about, because I'm trying to keep it short. And I know I say that all the time. I know I say it's going to be a quick episode tonight, and then it ends up being a marathon session that's 2.5 hours long. I am not doing that tonight because it's too hot, and I still have a little bit of a froggy throat from allergies. So I'm just not capable of it right now. And also, I want to produce that podcast episode that I was talking about creating a psychic journal. So, yep, Katie's saying rest and recover. Use the weekend to rest and recover. I agree. Ooh, okay. So Katie is saying Thursday night had annoying surprise bills. All right, let's take a look at Thursday night then. Um, so Thursday was surprisingly clear astrologically, but it could have been that the void moon was creeping in. That's possible. So for Thursday, this day is smooth sailing thanks to an absence of aspects. It's dynamite for PR, public speaking, bold marketing, creative work, and putting on a show. Power day for Leo and a weekday for Aquarius. So if you have Aquarius figuring strongly in your natal chart, that might have been the reason why Thursday was a little bit hinky. But it also could have been the fact that there was the void moon all day for Friday creeping into Thursday night. That's my suspicion anyway. Because sometimes, you look at the astrology and there's no good reason in the astrology why things went sideways. But I'm always willing to look. So, that's a possibility. Possible. Moon has been playing with me lately. There you go. It could have been the void moon. Any other questions? In the meantime, as we're waiting, possibly, for more questions about astrology, I did want to reemphasize about the Pulp Tarot. The Pulp Tarot is the deck of the month for May. I did also realize that I never sent out a newsletter for May 1st, so I do apologize for that. We're definitely going to do one for June 1st. But Pulp Tarot is May's deck of the month, and we also did an unboxing of the Pulp Tarot. So if you're not familiar with that, you can go to my Tube of You channel and search Pulp Tarot, or you can search the playlist of unboxings, and it will be there for you. So you can watch my initial reactions to opening up the Pulp Tarot, and I kind of do like a little bit of like a flashcard style reveal of the different cards. Mostly focusing on the major arcana, but I do try and show all 78 cards of the deck and also give my impressions, my first impressions of the deck, and how it feels, what the card stock is like. whether or not I agree or disagree with how they're depicting certain cards, that kind of thing. So, packaging, and definitely first impressions. So, and then I will go and I will use that deck for the next month for card of the day pulls. And as I was saying at the top of the episode, I feel like I haven't really been up on my game for card of the day posts. So I think we are going to continue into June also having that same deck of the month, the Pulp Tarot, because I feel like I haven't given it the weight. I've been kind of giving it short shrift, so I'd like to continue with that deck. And that doesn't happen all the time with every single deck, but it just feels like I want to continue to explore the Pulp Tarot a little bit more, so it's going to likely be June's deck of the month as well. Katie's asking, do you have a deck planned for next month? Yeah, it's going to be the Pulp Tarot. I didn't actually have a deck planned for June yet. Like, I have actually gone through, I think, most of the new decks that I've gotten so that I can do true unboxings and true like first impressions. This is my first impression. We are literally ripping off the cellophane together and exploring the deck together. So I don't think I have any new decks in my arsenal to explore or to unbox. So there you go. Yeah. So Katie is saying, nice, more Pulp Tarot. It's a nice deck. It really is. It's a nice deck. And I think if I'm remembering correctly from the unboxing, the only criticism that I had for it was the backs, because the backs have just Pulp Tarot or the Pulp Tarot in red writing on a black background, duplicated over the back. And to me, I feel like they could have done something a little bit more creative with the back of the deck. Maybe had like a little bit more of like a binding to the back, or maybe like a back cover blurby kind of feel to it that was more in line with like pulp, the pulp sensibilities, because you have that for each and every card of the 78 cards of the Pulp Tarot, where all each of them look like the cover of a pulp book, or a pulp comic, but you don't have that sensibility for the backs of the cards, which I find to be a little bit weird. But like honestly, it's not that big of a deal. But like I enjoy a deck that is aesthetically pleasing and keeps with the theme from beginning to end, and like really pulls through the theme organically throughout the entirety of it, like the packaging, the back pattern, each and every card, like the companion book. So it's like it's a very small quibble that I have, but it's still there. Like, I can't lie about it, and that is the reason why I enjoy doing the initial first impressions unboxing, is because, like, that if there something that can be said about me, which is both a plus and a minus, is that I'm very honest. And I usually can't hide my face when something displeases me. Like, I kind of have to borrow from Diana Galbadon, in her Outlander series of books. Like, she calls Claire Fraser like someone with a glass face. Like, she really, it's hard to be deceptive because like all of her emotion shows on her face. And I'm just like, first of all, damn you, Diana Galbadon, for being able to come up with that phrase, because as a writer, I'm just like, oh, I wish I had come up with that. And also, yeah, that's me. Glass face. Can't really hide, when I'm displeased with something. So yeah, I mean, that's a thought, Katie. Maybe when I run out of new decks, go through from the start of your old decks so we can see them all again. I mean, like, we could always do a quasi unboxing of the Terra Nova, which was my real, actual first deck that I learned on, which I would never recommend to anybody. And I can explain why. Actually, let me explain. Let me explain why the Terra Nova almost like made me quit reading tarot, and that was my very first deck. So let me pull that up. It's a blog post, that I've written on my website, tarotbyhillary.com. And I do reference that it's like baby's first tarot deck. Let me see. Can I possibly pull it up here? Let me just search Terra Nova. There it is. But it did make me become a better reader. So the name of the article is Why the Tarot Nova Made Me a Better Reader and Almost Made Me Not Become One at All, which is a very long URL, I will admit. So I'll go ahead and post that into the chat so you guys can follow that link when we're done with the episode, please and thank you. Or you can just go to my website, tarotbyhillary.com, and put in the search bar on the right sidebar, Tarot Nova. You'll go right to the article. So the Tarot Nova was my first deck. It came in a fortune telling kit with a small book on palmistry, which I read but never used. So like, did I learn a little bit about palmistry? Yes. Do I know what to do with that information? Absolutely not. Like I can't do palmistry. I know that my palms, both of my palms have gritting, which is like kind of a negative thing. It's just like it's not good. Like I do remember somebody reading my palm and being like, "Oh my god, you have so much gritting." And I'm like, "I'm gonna what now?" Gritting or fractures or I can't remember what the technical term was, but I was just like I kind of like heard that one thing and I think my brain or my intuitive side shut down with regard to palmistry because it was just like, oh, does that mean that I'm a terrible person or I'm doomed or whatever? They're just like, no, it just it's like it refers to you having more hardships than most. And I'm just like, oh, that's lovely. Thanks. So anyway, I got the Tarot Nova as a birthday present for my mother when I was 16. I thought it was awesome. The bee's knees, the boss on Nova. And I gave it to her, and she was just like, okay. I think she feared it. And I think she feared that she was either going to be really accurate, thereby scaring herself, or she would just make too many mistakes. She never outright said that she didn't like it, but she just said, you can hang on to it so you can read for me. So she like kind of gave it back to me and was just like, read for me. And that's how I started reading tarot. And when I brought this up to her like years later, she doesn't even remember that, and I'm just like, how do you not remember that? But that was it's like a foundational reason that I am a tarot reader now, that I am a professional tarot reader now, and she's just like, "Oh, okay." Like, "Mom, all right." Um, so I relied on the little white book for a long time, which is more like a pamphlet. It was like an 8.5 by 11 size. And I couldn't read the cards without it. And the first spread I ever learned wasn't necessarily a 3 card spread or the Celtic cross. It was a 4 card spread um, that said, what's at hand, past influences, ponder this, and what to do. So, what's at hand would be in the first position, and it would be on top, and then it would be like a classic, more of a classic 3 card spread below. Says this basic tarot layout was designed for use with the Terra Nova. If you're familiar with other layouts, you can use them with this deck or you can design your own, be creative. And then in my head, reading that, I was just like, not bloody likely, because I was just so new to it that I was freaked out by it. So it's just like I was trying to go by the book as much as possible because I didn't trust myself. I didn't, and I was just learning, which is fine. If you're on book when you're first learning, like that's a very natural thing. So like give yourself tons of compassion if you're at that stage right now. Just letting you know. Oh, Katie's saying little lines all over your hands. I was told it meant you have energy moving through your hands, which for me is accurate. Um, yeah, there. Can you see them? I've got a lot of branches. So both hands, a lot of branches. So I don't know. That's a nicer interpretation than I originally heard. So, all right. So how I would go about a reading with the Tarot Nova. They were small cards. They're little like square sized. So I was able to shuffle them as I would playing cards, a rarity I have come to find, since most tarot decks I've owned since have to shuffle I have to shuffle overhand because of my tiny hands. And as I shuffled, I thought of a problem I was having or an issue, and then I would stop when I was ready or felt ready, and then lay out the cards A, B, C, and D with the deck resting in my right hand and my left hand doing the pulling of the cards, which is not how I read anymore. I shuffle and then I'll pull from my right hand actually. It's interesting that I actually wrote that down. It's just like, oh wait, no, I do this now and then I pull like this. So I pull from my right hand. This is not how the little white book said I should do things, suggesting to shuffle and separate the deck into four piles, pulling cards A through D from the top of each pile. I don't know when I realized it was okay to do it a different way. One day I was following the instructions to the letter, and at some point I just didn't do it anymore. And I also don't remember who my first real client was, my first real paying client. I don't remember. Um, I would guess it was my mother that was really my first client, though my mother has never paid me for a tarot reading. And I also don't remember any of the details of that reading. Yes, that was it. So Katie says branches off of your main lines is events in life. Doesn't always mean bad events, but definitely significant events. Then I've had a lot of significant events. Lots of branching. Thank you. Branching was the word that I was looking for. Um, so why I think that the Tarot Nova made me a better reader was the deceptively simple minor arcana. I remember for a long time thinking, I will never remember this stuff. I will never be a true or real tarot reader. And I would cry because I would quiz myself on memorizing the meanings in the little white book in a flashcard kind of fashion. Tarot card would come up, Four of Wands. What did the little white book say? And then I would struggle to remember without opening that book or that pamphlet. For new readers, I don't recommend this kind of learning style. I don't recommend memorization. I really don't. Tis far better to build a rapport with your deck in other ways, making connections between the imagery on the card with memories or associations from your own life, or getting yourself a Rider Waite Smith based deck and just reading the story on the card. The problem with deceptively simple minor arcana cards is that they're very bare bones. Only one or two images on the card as clues with which to interpret. I think that the minor arcana is the most daunting of all things new readers learn. Maybe secondarily the court cards, or maybe one of the most daunting things, and perhaps a reason why I nearly didn't become a tarot reader. The simple imagery in the Tarot Nova is a double edged sword. It gives very, very little to go on. And when we latch on to those few meanings we glean, we don't let go of them. And we could become short sighted because of it, or not open to other interpretations because of it. So, like the Four of Pentacles, for example, I will always think of this card as the greed card. Fortunately, I don't always think of it as a greed card anymore. I've been trying really hard to get out of that mindset of the Tarot Nova. The reason why, though, was keeping, hoarding money for the sake of money, being a miser, not putting it to use. Why? Because the first association is linked to this deck's depiction of the card, a greedy little piggy with his arms wrapped possessively around four golden coins. But some of the other cards in the Pentacle suit only have one symbol that catches the eyes, such as the Three of Pentacles, a vine wrapping around a ladder with coins growing out of it. Or the Five of Pentacles, a lizard with a coin for an eye and four coins surrounding him. And the Six of Pentacles, bread baking, three coins in its center with three additional coins scattered around it. I couldn't wrap my head around those cards, which made reading them difficult, and I was to the point of tears trying to read those. Nine of Swords, the Nightmare card, will always say it. We'll always say it. We'll always see it as the Nightmare card. When someone is sitting in a bed made of swords, cowering as swords are flying above them, threatening to decapitate them if they dare to look up to the sky, let's call a spade a spade. But the Three of Swords is depicted in the Tarot Nova as a turnip getting his leaves chopped off. So something in that imagery is definitely lacking for what I now know to be a very complicated card, the Three of Swords. A lot more than chopping veggies is needed here to get the point of the Three of Swords across. Because some of the imagery can be very disturbing, um, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to jar us. The Three of Swords is not a pretty card because it's supposed to jar us. The Tower is not a pretty card because it's supposed to jar us. The Devil is supposed to be a frightening card or frightening imagery to jar us out of complacency. And for the Tarot Nova, I'm not sure when I stopped using the little white book as my personal tarot Bible, and I've never been able to really pinpoint the moment of I'll never learn this to I know this. And I really wish that I could, and I also am really glad that I can't. Perhaps it's best that that portion is left to a nice hazy fog of memory. But my bigger point is, if I was like that, and if I felt like I couldn't get there, and then I went from not knowing it to knowing it, then it's very possible for you to experience that journey as well. You are capable of learning tarot too. Yep. Katie's saying pip cards suck. Yes, you're right. Pip cards do suck, and simple imagery is not sufficient. Yep, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And for other people, there are like systems too of non illustrated pip cards that they use where it's kind of formulaic, where it's just like three means this and wands means this. So that meaning plus this meaning equals the interpretation. Like that's entirely possible, but I did not learn tarot that way. I learned based on a Rider Waite Smith understanding of the tarot. So, and I teach from a Rider Waite Smith understanding of the tarot. Now, I have been trying with limited success to understand Thoth. Um, and, there's some days or some readings that I get it. And then there are other days where I'm just like, I just prefer RWS. I just prefer it. Anyway, so that's my rant about the Terra Nova. But I'm open. I'm open to going back to some of the decks that I started with and revisiting them in a kind of weird unboxing. Like, let's unbox one of the first decks that I've ever used, and talk about those, because goodness knows I have a lot of decks in my arsenal. And I was actually talking with Mr. Tarot by Hilary the other day because we are planning on moving. And I was considering looking at my tarot deck collection and possibly doing a sale on those decks that I no longer use. But then at the same time, I'm just like, Oh, but I use different decks for different things, for different clients, for different situations, so I don't necessarily know if I can give up some of my decks, but maybe this is a kind of compromise if I revisit some of those decks before I let them go, possibly. Yeah, the more in the images, the greater options for intuition to pick up on the meaning it's trying to convey. I agree with you. And that's actually one of the things I taught in one of the first classes that I did. I think it was a class at it might have been one of the classes that I taught at the Breed's Closet Beltane Festival, where, I encouraged people to think about a question, shuffle the cards, pull a card, but keep it face down for now, and then soften their gaze and get into kind of a meditative state and think about their question, get into a meditative state, and then flip it over and open their eyes, soften their gaze, and then write down the very first image that their vision solidified for them. And write it down and then write about what question that they had and what that symbol may be telling them about how to interpret that particular card based on the question or the issue that they were thinking about. And that's another tarot tip for you in learning tarot and in learning about different interpretations and how to interpret tarot cards differently every time. That's kind of what I encourage with my students when they're learning tarot is that, like, when you get stuck on memorization or rote meanings of each and every card, it can be very difficult to broaden your horizon and start to really listen to your intuition, because sometimes like a card will come up and it's just like, well, I'm getting something different than the original memorized meaning that I had for the Hierophant. I'm getting something else here, which is more valid, which is the right interpretation for myself or for someone I'm reading for. And most of the time, about 85% of the time, it's going to be your first impression. It's going to be your intuitive impression, or where did your eye fall upon um, in that particular card? Was it the crossed keys of the Hierophant? Was it the Pope hat? Was it the two supplicants in front of him? Was it the pillars? Was it his hands in benediction? What was the symbol? And how does that relate to the question that you were asking? And that's like one of the things that I wrote about in my book, and I tried to write about it like it was funny being in that position of author instead of editor, because my copy editor reached back out to me and said this is repetitive, and I'm just like, yeah, that's intentional. The repetition is intentional, and this is one of the things that I repeated was, you are gonna have that moment where your intuition is conflicting with what you read about that card, and it is a very natural step in forming a personal connection with the tarot deck, and a very natural step in your evolution as a tarot card reader and as your intuition evolves. It's a natural step, because when I got to that step, when I was learning, I thought I was going crazy, for one. And secondly, I thought that I was doing everything wrong. It's just like, well, the book says this. So clearly the book must be right and I must be wrong. And it's just like, honey, other way around. Other way around. Because the book that is being written can only do so much. And think about the authors of the tarot decks. Like, if I go back to my book, How to Read Tarot, I wrote that about a year ago, and I would probably say something different about every single card, because that's just the way it is. So Katie says maybe a month of a deck you're planning to let go as a way to sell them to your viewers or confirm to yourself you want to let go. Are you listening, buddy?
I'm listening to get some of my headphones.
Can you take it out for a second and listen to me? Because this is a great idea.
Mhm.
Trying to give credit here. So I was spitballing about like what Katie suggested, doing unboxings of decks that I have previously used. And I was just like, well, maybe I should do that, but do it possibly for the ones that I might be letting go of.
Mm.
So she's suggesting maybe a month. Hold on. I'm waiting for it to repeat. Maybe a month of a deck you're planning to let go as a way to sell them to your viewers or to confirm to yourself you want to let go of that deck. Don't necessarily say whether you're letting go of it, just in case you realize you still need it by the end of the month.
That works.
Did you hear that? That works. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot, actually. There have been very few decks that I have sold. But one of the decks that I have sold, actually, there's two. One deck I didn't sell. I put it on the swap table, and it didn't even make it to the swap table. I literally was going to put it on the swap table, and it was snatched out of my hands. And that was the Deviant Moon Tarot by Patrick Valenza, because it freaked me out. It freaked me out, man. No shade to Patrick Valenza. I respect him tremendously as an artist, but it's just like I couldn't work with the deck. And that was totally fine because like my releasing that allowed for someone to snatch it out of my hands basically and get a lot of enjoyment from it. So cool with me. The other deck that I got was, I think it was a gift that somebody gave me, but it was like the Necromancy Alchemy deck 1977, something like that. And it had a lot of like skeletons on it. It was very like, it almost looked like an Iron Maiden-esque type of deck. And so I put it on my website to just sell it. And I think I sold it for maybe $10, like half of what the original price was. And actually, one of my really good friends ended up buying it for her boyfriend at the time. So it was just like, cool. It's just like, I think you'll really enjoy it. I'm just like, that's cool. And it's just like, oh, and also I don't have to pay shipping costs. I'll bring it to you the next time I see you. So I think those were the only like two decks I might have given up. Maybe 3. I think the Wheel of the Year tarot, from Lo Scarabeo, I think I might have just given to somebody, and then I think I had an extra copy of the Mary L tarot, that I ended up just giving to, one of my tarot clients because she really enjoyed the deck. Um, and I was just like, "Oh, I actually have this deck already," and then someone gifted me another copy of that deck, and it's just like, and you enjoyed it so much, like let me drop it off to you. And she was so excited about that. And it's just like, I'm not going to do that for every person, but it's just like it really depends. And it's just like I don't feel bad about that either. Like you got to determine for yourself if that's going to be something that you give away, something that you put in the garage sale, something that you give as a gift. Same thing for tarot readings too. You've got to decide, your pricing. You got to decide whether or not you're going to waive the pricing for somebody, or do a sliding scale. It's just like you're in charge of that. Like if you're choosing to do readings professionally, like only you can say or only you can, create those boundaries and containers around your business. So but that's a great idea, Katie. I really like that, and I'm gonna really consider that one. There's actually something that I'm not gonna get rid of this. Sorry, folks. Sorry to disappoint, but there's two charm casting kits that I've gotten from Carrie Paris and Andrew McGregor, and they're based around mediumship readings, but they're charm casting. So I got the initial mediumship and casting seer charms, and then I ended up getting an entire other like set, I think. And that's in like a cigar box. It has like, I think it has like Van oil in it, like a pendulum, dice, cards. This and it's just like this whole thing, and it came along with like a 5 week course as well on how to read it. So don't get your hopes up, people. Don't get your hopes up. Those things are probably not going to be for sale. But I actually uncovered like the first one, and I ended up pulling it and pull first thing I pulled is what I'm wearing right now, which is a key. Um, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but it is for like mediumship. And my friend that just passed away, she was a devotee of Hecate, and so me touching on that key, the very first thing I touched in the charm bag was the key. I'm just like I knew exactly who it was. So it's just like, yeah, I can't get rid of this, and I can't get rid of the other one either. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so hard though, Katie. That's what I'm saying. Don't tell beforehand. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to get people's hopes up. Mm. That's gonna be the hard part though. Is not getting people's hopes up, not telling beforehand, just being like, "This is an unboxing." Yeah. Definitely not gonna get rid of the Terra Nova. Can't get rid of the Terra Nova. That's too important. But maybe some of the other ones that I've accumulated over the years. I do have one particular one in mind that I'm fairly certain that I am going to get rid of, and that's the Simple Tarot, because it is a learner deck and I don't need to learn anymore. I mean, I obviously I do. I'm always learning about tarot, but it is meant for beginners, um, and so I might give that away or resell that or something. So there are a few that I have in mind that it's just like I can probably say up front. And then there are other ones that I will not say. But it's a great idea, Katie. I'm gonna mull over that this weekend. All right. So since we are not doing the mid episode reading because I want to keep it short and we're at minute 53, let's move on to the weekend forecast. So y'all can move into your Memorial Day weekend feeling good, feeling right, being forewarned and forearmed. Yeah, those charm ones that were shiny that you use to get a new charm from every not from every now and then are so lovely. Yes, I have several. I'm not gonna lie, and they're pretty much all from Carrie Paris. Pretty sure they're all from Carrie Paris or a collaboration with Carrie Paris and another person. So I had her. I don't know where one of them went, but I had her Lenormand charms. So that's 36 charms, each representing one of the cards in the Lenormand deck. So there's like a mouse, a rider, a boy, a girl, path, tree, all sorts of different things. So the Lenormand one, Lenormand charms, the mediumship and casting charms, seer charms, which are these, and then there's a completely different one, which is like I think it's called like the Honored Dead, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm gonna have to look. Hold on. Mediumship and casting. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a 5 week course. And I did that back in 2017. It's so cute. One of the emails. By now, most of you will have received your casting kits and located a rogue fish. If you haven't, please know your package is in the mail and will reach you very soon. We won't be getting into the kits until the second class, so there's still time. So cute. Yeah, but she also did like the Magpie Oracle. Um, Little fish charm. Yeah, I feel like actually this might be a part of the bigger cigar box too. I'm not sure. But you can actually I think I did one of the lives was on charm casting, and I did talk a little bit of Carrie Paris's work with charm casting. And you can also do divination at any time. You can also like make it almost a yes or no question and like do a purse divination where it's just like if my hands touch the lipstick first, then that's a yes for this question. And if my hands touch the mirror first, it's going to be a yes to this. So, and I believe her training or her work, her studies were in divination. So, very interesting. All right. Just a reminder to everyone, we do these episodes every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually do announce when we're not going to do an episode. So Friday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, exactly where you're tuning in from right now, either the Book of Face or the Tube of You. So keep that in mind, and keep in mind to join us again next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And while you're at it, follow, click the bell, like, support wherever you're tuning in from. Where's my widget? Where is my follow us widget? All right. And if you would like to book a reading, tarotbyhilary.com. You can book a tarot reading in many different forms, or you can book an EFT tapping session because I am a tapping practitioner as well. All right. Different crawler. Let's do the weekend forecast. Is there any particular deck that people are feeling right now? Because I am leaning towards the Super Attractor affirmation cards because I just recently found this deck. I've been talking about it for a while. I've been pulling from the what was the other one? The Spirit Junkie, but because that was closest to hand. But I really wanted to pull from the Super Attractor, and I just couldn't locate it. So I have it here. So yes. So Katie is giving me full permission. Go for what you are leaning towards. So I will. So weekend forecast from the Super Attractor deck by Gabrielle Bernstein with artwork by Michaela Ezra. And you've got to think about food.
What?
Food. Dinner. Food.
Right there.
It's almost time. Oh, this is a hard one. This is a hard one because it's often the hardest part about manifesting and attracting and working with intuition. And here it is. I feel my way into faith one step at a time. Notice the artwork there is a little bridge crossing over a gap and the little crescent moon. I feel my way into faith one step at a time. Oof. That is hard. That is hard. All right. Well, let's remember that this weekend. I see we're at the hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Trying to keep it tight tonight. So thank you all for watching once again. Every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yep, Katie's saying it right. The slow plot into it. Heavy steps. Yes, I agree with you. So we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I firmly, firmly believe that you have intuition. So Katie is wishing you a great weekend, and thanks. You're very, very welcome, Katie. I appreciate you so much for showing up every week, making this what it is, because honestly, I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. If it was just me, talking out into the universe with no one talking back, I probably wouldn't be doing this after 3 years. So you guys are what makes this live stream work. So give yourselves a little applause, give yourself pats on the back, and have a very relaxing weekend, because the astrology says so. Okay? It does. Bye.